Well, hello and welcome to Narrowboat Baldrick. This vlog will cover the short trip from Cranfleet Lock to Beeston Lock, and we'll talk to Tony, we'll have a look at a World War II landing craft, and of course we'll look at a beautiful lock. So last time I left you, I was just going down the lock at Cranfleet Cut to go out onto the Trent again. I explained earlier that I've lost a lot of video footage from this section of the trip for the next couple of days, so I've put a few bits and bobs together and I'll show you them as time goes on. So this is the twisty bends around the Trent. See the weir there. It's a nice aerial shot. And that there's the shop, the bar, and things like that. It's really quite good actually. So just went for a walk here. Must have been lovely when it was a lockkeeper's cottage. Reasonably deep lock. Made it then. I was just talking to you, don't know, wasn't I? Is this the one that? Yeah. Is this the one that's normally moored up outside Castle Quay then? Yeah. Right. It's worth noting actually that if you do moor up here rather than drive here for this day like I did, there's a laundrette right there. Several machines, there's recycling, and then you've got a bar on the left here. And you kind of sit inside, which I did later on, or you can sit out with those nice steps. And this was a surprise. Past the dog ice cream sign there, over the little bridge. An old World War II Higgins boat. And if you go into Tony's cafe there, there's a sign up on the wall telling you all about it. And Tony himself is an absolute wealth and a mine of information. And what a guy to talk to. He's really charismatic. There's the Higgins boat from the side. Look, it tells you all about that boat and the ship that carried it and the operations it went on. Nice view down past the chandlery towards the lock itself. In this chandlery, they've got all kinds going on in there. Anything you need for a boat. I actually came over here when my boat was still at Redhill. I needed a few bits and bobs. I think I came here for a brass skin fitting, but they've got absolutely everything. Cable, really good selection of paints and varnishes there, look. It's a proper chandler's, you know. Got your rope, all different sorts of rope, products for your fuel, treatments. Look at that, got the lot. Little bits and bobs, catches, switches, containers and cans. Over here by the window there's the precious things in the cabinet, and that's where my brass skin fitting was. Precious things tabs. I did talk to the chap, he was very personable, although he wasn't keen to appear on the vlog himself, but that's fine. All
kinds of stuff behind the counter there, and then you've got sweets and treats, pop, crisps, ice cream, all kinds going on in here. Great chandlery, and I thoroughly recommend going in. They're really helpful and they really like to have a chat. Batteries down there, look for your boat. Definitely starter batteries, perhaps leisure as well, I don't know. Look, a few supplies there if you're running short on the boat. And it was a hot day, of course, you've got your ice cream. Okay, then into Tony's cafe here. Tony's been here for absolutely ages, and he does an absolutely cracking breakfast or a lunch or tea. Fabulous. I know Robbie Cummins has stuck here for a long time, and Tony will tell you all about that in a moment. So here's the information board I was talking about, which tells you all about the landing craft and the ship that took it all over the place. Well worth a closer look if you ever come into the cafe, which I highly recommend that you do. Information there about the area and whatnot. Really well worth a look. Anyway, I'm going to let Tony now tell you about some of the stuff that's up on his walls, and he was talking to me about some of the plaques made by a local chap.
Mr. Bill Newton started making these plaques from since he's in his 70s. He's now 86.
Wow, they're really nice.
He stays in this particular chair. Now he has a son and a daughter called Tina and Lee. So Bill used to make this shape, but now his son does the old shape. And the first one he, excuse me, the first time Lee had a contract, says I'm doing these plaques from now on. Right. The first one came from Egypt. So he designed something of somebody from Egypt and sent it via the post and got his money via the post, for everything. So that's a lovely story.
Yeah.
So his father did all those, and now the son's doing these, and his first one was sent up into Egypt.
I wasn't videoing when you were telling me about Robbie. I was on the wrong setting.
Okay, let's do
Would you mind? And what's your name?
My name's Tony, sir.
I wondered if it might be with that plaque. What a difference a Tony makes.
I know, that was the clue. So anyway, 2 years ago, we were very fortunate to have Robbie Cummins come to the Boathouse Cafe. Yeah. Because the river was high and he couldn't go anywhere for 2 months. And he used to come here for breakfast.
2 of you.
He used to come for breakfast, and it was ever so amazing that sometimes we'd be sat at the table and people walk in the door and they go, "Are you Robbie Cummins off the Canal Boat Diaries?" And he went, yeah. But I don't expect to see you. He says, I don't expect to be here, but the river's so high he couldn't go anywhere. Right. And one of the proudest moments is that he was able to give me this. This is his first series that he did. Yeah. And there's only 2 copies, and he put this in a frame, and he asked me to keep this up for him. Thank you so much. Gift. A really lovely gift. And he's a truly lovely young man.
Yeah, it seems nice, yeah. I'll let you crack on anyway. Yeah, cheers, Tony.
You're welcome. I am.
So it was time to set off up the Nottingham and Beeston Canal into Nottingham Centre. So it was this section. It was quite a pretty bit of canal actually. It felt like outskirts should feel, nice garden and whatnot. And then you get to the city centre here. This is the hire boat I was just talking to in the earlier clip. I recorded this earlier and then...
How far are you going? Beeston?
I'm Beeston as well.
Daily trip.
How many locks is that? 2?
Just the one. We only go through that one.
It's like a little stop lock or something, yeah.
So that's one of the 2 boats you always see moored up outside Castle Wharf, which you'll see in a moment when I go have a pint there. Although neither of the trip boats were there that day.
Oh, ducklings.
Sunken boat there.
Such a peaceful inner city canal.
There's the boys fishing off it when I walked back later on. Really quite a hot day.
I mean, even to the point, like I said to him about.
Or going out of distance, going for a night walk on the canal. Get to hear the odd
Big
tidbit
now.
of gossip.
Such a lovely day.
So yeah, I walked from that bridge along the canal, retracing the route I'd taken when I lost all the footage. Actually, a much nicer day this day. There's the two higher boats I'm normally there. So I've cut a little bit out the middle. Just approaching Nottingham city centre now. Canal. I just love the way the canals wind through our most densely populated areas. It's such a little river of green tranquility through our most busy conurbations. It's really precious. It's something we need to look after. So this looked like an interesting pub by this first lock in the city centre. I didn't have time. I knew I wanted to have a pint at Castle Wharf, so I didn't go in here, but it looks like it's pretty good. Information there on canals in general and how locks work. Navigation in. Quite a few of those around the canal system. I do like it as a pub name. So I'll revisit that lock on the way back and help some boaters through. Bridges feel awful low when you're in a boat. You're not going to bang your head on them. Now you see the blue footbridge in the distance there. I cross over there and go around the back of the building so I can go and have a pint. The old British Waterways building, look.
Castle Wharf. Castle Quay rather. Where does that go? Interesting. Nottingham and Beeston Canal. That's the courts, Nottingham courts. Call it that because that's where you go if you get caught. Beautiful. Narrowboat Will used to work in there. Fellows and Water in Clayton. Look at that.
I just thought that was amazing. Narrowboat right there in the middle of the bar. It was a welcome pint. It was so hot that day. I wanted to sit at that bar by the canal drinking a pint. Since I first got into watching people like.
Well, I was getting peckish. I didn't fancy paying 11 quid for a sandwich. So, good old Greg's. And they got them both free on the app.
So I set off walking again along the canal, several bridges. When I originally passed under here, some young students were taking pictures of me on that lower bridge and videoing me. I gave them a hoot on the horn, a woo-ga! They really enjoyed it. So I gave them the YouTube channel name, so if you're watching this now, hi guys, I remember you, you did make me smile for a while. Thanks for the interaction. Carrying on now on to the next little section. Such a low bridge. I feel like there was another bar up here on the left somewhere. I don't see it now.
You're right, Will. Narrowboat Will. It's an amazing building. Danger pump intake. What's a danger pump? I think I want to work with one of them.
Some guys fishing here on the bank. They've been there all night. I spoke to them on the way back. They were keeping it several fish in. They'd literally done like an 18-hour marathon session.
A long way from home. Cockneys. Good luck. Go for a pint at Red Hill Marina, that's my advice. On the saw.
Now, I'll catch up with this boat again in a little while when I head back. They're at the lock, so I'll give them a hand through and get chatting to them. Turns out, they moor at Red Hill, where I spent 9 months. I didn't remember seeing them in the bar. They said they go regular. In fact, the chap on the boat there apparently first helped to set the bar up in the first place, which was funny. Small world. But because my boat wasn't actually on the water while I was at Red Hill, I guess I didn't see any of the other boats that were on the water. I thought this was an interesting basin. I couldn't understand why there was nobody in it. It looks like a great place to moor up. Maybe it's just vulnerable to inner city crime or whatnot. So I didn't venture far down here now, because I knew I wanted to drive round to Narrowboat Lock later on. So here I am catching up with Cockney Rebel. Nice group of people. They'd been moored up at Trent Bridge,
You can go and open the paddle
watching the cricket for a few days, and now they're heading back to Red Hill.
Alright, good to help each other, innit?
So at this point I decided that if I saw people going through the locks, I'd give them a hand, because I had had such fortunate luck on the way up on my own trip.
I can't complain. I went all the way from the Saw to West Yorkshire. I didn't open a lock till I got to Ferry Bridge.
I didn't do a lot for a
Behind a
long
professional
time.
boat mover with a crew. No, just follow me. I was single-handed as well, so. Well, that was my first voyage, so I might just stop now while I'm ahead. Very respectable horn. I've got an awooga on mine.
So on the day, they actually obviously carried on down here to Meadow Lane Lock, but on the revisit, the recorded purposes, I got in the car and drove round Meadow Lane Lock. So we were out Meadow Lane Lock. There was a chap going through, locking down onto the fence. Yeah, locking the hand. It was single hand as well, so it was quite a big one. There's the chap, I don't catch his name. Me doing the gates through the east, no, I can just go straight through without the tire, come back, and then go back down again, straight on. Oh, good.
Cheers. It's nice to pay it back a bit. You've had fortune. I'll have to close that other one though, it's come open. You can just crack straight on, you see. You have to tie on the lock landing and come back up and shut the gates.
City ground over there, I think. Something like that. Not forest, I'll show you that in a moment. They have to go past there in the ground. There's a chap I just helped through and it will just carry straight on, going upstream. When we came through Meadow Lane Lock, we were out onto the Trent, and it was the Trent proper. It was so wide. It was pretty impressive. You start following the line then from the charts. There's some big, fine houses and mansions along the side. As we came around this bend, we were surprised by one of these big tour boats bearing down on us, and we were a bit too far over. It was a bit like this. Yeah, it was a pretty scary experience. I had to really redline the engine to get out the way of this big boat. I'm sure there was some shaking bits and shaking heads for the professionals on the boat. Apologies, guys and gals. So through that lock, I forget the name of it now. I don't know, something like that. And on down the Trent to Stoke Lock, which is where I had originally intended to moor up when I thought I was going to be single-handed. I was going to stop here because I was following Paul Holland, boat mover, and he had offered to do all the locks for me. I couldn't turn that chance down. So we ended up doing 13 hours a day instead of my planned 6 or so. But it was great. Paul's a great guy and really knows how to handle a boat on the inland waterways. And he taught me quite a bit on the way up, which was really kind of him. And it was good to have some companionship on the way as well from Paul and Ben, the owner of the boat, and the guys that were helping Paul out as crew. So there was a sandbar there when we came out on a working boat. We had to go around a specific route to avoid being grounded.
Hello, Swannies.
Down Stoke Lock, it opens up a bit. There's the landscape.
So what I'm doing is, because I lost the footage, I've come out today and I'm just taking footage of the locks and where I'm moored and things like that, so I can jazz up the videos a little bit, make it a bit more interesting. And it's a good record for me as well. And tell you what, it's a nice way to spend the day, just visiting all the locks from Beeston to, well, I'll probably go to West Stockwith. Anyway, it took me about best part of a week in May. It took me about 12 hours today, all in. So I recommend it for a day out. You don't need a boat to enjoy the locks. How about that?
We came out of Stoke Lock and carried on down the Trent. I was always tempted to say up the Trent because we were heading north more or less. But yeah, downstream, so we say down the Trent apparently. And the next lock, is it Gunthorpe? Yes, Gunthorpe Lock. Here's a little taster of Gunthorpe Lock, but I'm not going to do a huge amount on Gunthorpe now. I'll save that for the next video. But thanks for watching, guys, and like and subscribe and comment, please. It does help. It keeps me going, you know.